Hello, Team World Explorers, Team Sky, Team Sunset, and Team Unstoppable. Welcome in, everyone. And I just want to say thank you all for being here and joining. My name is John Jang. I am a silver consultant. Been with the company for about 2.5 years. And today's topic is how accessible is cruising, specifically for Disney Cruise Line. Okay, and make this bigger. And just want to say thank you all for tuning in. And this is being recorded, so you guys can come back and rewatch the recording if necessary, and we will go ahead and get started. So today's agenda, it's about packing tips, embarkation day, the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, the muster drill, staterooms, dining room, getting around the ship, activities, shore excursions, your transportation from the airport to the ship and the ship back to the airport, and also your debarkation day process. Okay, and then we'll have a short Q&A at the end. We'll get into it. Packing tips: what to or not to bring. I recommend magnetic hooks. You can get those easily on Amazon. Any extra clothes that you want to change into or swimsuits in your carry-on for embarkation day. I would recommend a USB port hub. They will not allow power strips, even if they are non-surge protected, in the stateroom. And through security, they will be confiscated, and they will give you your name, you have to give them your stateroom number, and they'll give you a little sheet of paper, and then you'll have to pick it up on debarkation day at the end of your cruise. So USB port hub, basically it's a kind of like a USB port tower, I call it. You easily, again, get the easily on at like Five Below. If you'll have access to that, they usually have it for like under $5. And they're usually pretty good quality. And so it's basically you plug in one and then you have multiple ports that you can do, so you can charge your devices. Okay. If you have any prescription drugs, you will need them in your carry-on. If you have skin allergies or specific shampoos, conditioners, body wash, and lotions, I would recommend you to bring that as well, because the ones on Disney Cruise Line does have sea salt in it, and for those that have drier skin, it tends to dry out your skin. Even the lotion does too. So I would recommend you to bring your own. Especially if it's like a 7-day cruise, you can easily probably bring like a travel size one. Shouldn't be not a problem. If you are bringing your own wheelchair, especially if it's a manual wheelchair like my friend has, I recommend to get wheelie bars at the back, because going through hallways and different individual areas, getting into some of the event venues and activities and theaters, dining rooms, things like that, the buffet, they will have these metal lips that can be a little high, so you'll have to pop a wheelie to get over there. Okay. You cannot bring walkie-talkies, no matter what the internet states. Reason being, this interferes with the radio frequency or RF waves that are on the ship, because the crew members also use this frequency to get in touch with each other, and it interferes with the radar and the ship communication as well. Okay, I recommend you to bring travel mugs for sodas in your carry-on, so that way then you can get access to free soda. There's free Coke products on board. Disney doesn't do drink packages, so all alcohol is a la carte, but the drinks prices are very reasonable. They usually have a drink of the day, and it's like $5. There's a non-alcoholic drink of the day, and there's a alcoholic drink of the day. So if you choose to drink alcohol, be prepared to pay per drink. And there's an 18% gratuity tagged onto that as well. If you plan on full time the first day or any time, bring extra swimsuits just in case you don't want to get into a wet swimsuit the next day or something like that, just to be safe. And also extra clothes to change into, things like that. Sunscreen for your ports of call is recommended, or pool. If you're prone to motion sickness or seasickness, you'll want to get some anti-nausea patches or sea bands or non-drowsy Dramamine. If you get the drowsy Dramamine, you will be sleeping the entire cruise. Okay, just be careful. So, also for those that are accessibility passengers that may have an issue getting into the bed, you will need to be able to get a step stool and bring that in to climb into the bed. Hold on 1 second. I just realized I put in the wrong meeting ID on my flyer. No wonder no one can get it. So, sorry about that. So, a folding step stool for the bed to clear into if necessary. The room does also have a sofa bed, so it is easier for someone to get into if necessary as well. So next topic is embarkation day. Okay. You make sure you want to select a time that you are able to reach the port terminal when you do your check-in process. Make sure you have all of your passports or state ID or driver's license and birth certificates for all passengers, especially if it's a closed loop cruise, meaning it starts and ends at the same port. And you want to make sure that if you are vaccinated, you have your COVID vaccine cards with you, with your carry-on as well. Make sure you read the health and safety information for COVID regulations, as they may change at any time. Currently, non-vaccinated guests must have a negative COVID test to board. Vaccinated guests must have at least 2 vaccines, and booster is recommended. But they may change that, so it just depends. For wheelchair passengers or scooter passengers, be prepared to get patted down, just like you are in the airport as well. Make sure that person has a traveling companion as well. It's always good to have around. That way, then they can remove the items that need to go through the X-ray machine for security, and then the person can go ahead and go through security and get patted down. That way, then it's just easier to get through security. Okay. You will have a boarding group number on your pass, on your pass to get onto the ship. And it is possible by the time you get to the port, your boarding group has already been called. So you will just go ahead and look at the screens in the terminal, and if your boarding group number gets called, you just proceed to the mouse ears and go straight through. And when you get close to the inside of the ship, you will be greeted by what they call cast members. All the crew is called cast members. And they will be introducing you by your traveling party. So if your clients are traveling as like a family, okay, then they will introduce you as, let's say, your last name. Like my last name is Jang, so the Jang family. So I was on the Fantasy, which is based out of Port Canaveral, in Orlando, and they would say, Disney Fantasy now welcomes aboard the Jang family, and then they hoot and holler, and then you'll go straight into your main lobby. Usually you'll have usually at that time you'll have Captain Mickey and Captain Minnie on the upper deck waving at you, or maybe some other characters waving at you and welcoming you on board. And then usually your staterooms won't, I forgot to put this on it, staterooms usually won't be ready until about 1:30 p.m. Okay, and then because of COVID protocols right now as well, your stateroom key, or what they call your key to the world card, is attached to your stateroom when you arrive. Okay, so welcome in, everyone. I am so sorry for the delay, you guys. You guys trying to get in. I did not realize I put the wrong meeting ID on the flyer. I do apologize. I thank you all. I have recorded this session as well, so I will do a quick overview later on towards the end of the presentation while we do the Q&A, but we'll continue on. But thank you all so much. While y'all are listening in, if you could do me a favor, put in the chat box how long you've been an Evo agent and who your platinum consultant is, whether that's Courtney Palladino, Courtney Sharples, Emily Jimenez, Erica Gonzalez, Amy Edwards. If you could throw that into the chat box real quick, I thank you and do appreciate it, and do apologize for the communication error on my end. So there's an overview of embarkation date. I traveled on November 12th on the Disney Fantasy, and it was the very first maritime Christmas sailing for Disney out of Orlando for the Fantasy ship. I will give you guys photos at the end as well towards the Q&A. So, Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. You and or your clients who are traveling will want to download this app. Okay. Due to COVID-19 many cruise lines have transitioned from having paper and going green initiative as well, from handing out paper itineraries of things to do, what's going on event wise and things like that. This transitions into onto your phone or device that you're taking on. This needs to be downloaded prior to getting on board your ship. You can download this app like right now, or you can download this app while you're waiting in line to get on board the ship. But just keep in mind, port Wi-Fi and terminal Wi-Fi may not be as stable as home Wi-Fi. You know, have to tell your clients to just down as part of you letting them know of the terms and conditions and things like that. Include this in. Be like, hey, go ahead and download that the Navigator app from Disney Cruise Line, because this will have all of the events, all the activities, all entertainment, all of your dining, ways to get your excursions, and also account tracking, like how much you're spending on board. This goes onto your phone. It's all in a one-stop area, and everything is all included. So there may be some changes and things like that and updates. So this allows the cruise line, the ship, and the cruise director to like push those things. And if you heart activities of wanting to attend, you'll get reminders as well, like 15-minute reminder, probably like 15 minutes before, you'll get a reminder reminding you that, hey, you favorited this activity. It's starting in about 15 minutes, so you may want to start getting to that area. There is a chat feature in the app as well, so you can communicate on board as well, because you cannot take walkie-talkies. It's in my packing, part of my packing tips. No walkie-talkies and no power strips are allowed on Disney Cruise Lines. They are very strict about that. If you do take it on board or to the terminal and they see it in security, they will confiscate it, and you won't be able to get it back until the end of the voyage when you get off the ship. So there's a small fee. It's for the whole cruise. I think it was around $5 to $10 maximum, I believe, and that's all and that's how you can get in touch with people on board, and you can add people in your group and things like that. So just in case, like with my friend, she's wheelchair bound. There were some activities like she can't go into the pool. You know, she's mainly bound to her wheelchair, or she does have crutches to get around, but it can be unsafe walking around a ship in crutches, especially now with it being a Christmas sailing. With Christmas being around, there's tons and tons of people, kids, things like that. So it's just easier for her to transport her to and from on her chair. It's just easier. So all things that you need to know about your cruise are all through the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app. Okay, and I'll show you everything at the end as well. So your muster drill or your safety briefing. You must attend this, or else you will not set sail and you will be kicked off. Their key to the world card and boarding documents will have your muster station on there, as well as the back of your stateroom door, and there's a flyer in the desk for safety information as well. Now, majority of the cruise lines right now are taking into what we call the self-muster or e-muster. Disney's not doing that. What you do is you'll know you'll know the letter that you want. When you get on board, you kind of want to know where it is, so later on, when they tell you to report to your muster station, you'll know where it is, so you won't get lost. But you'll report to your muster station, and they will do the drill there at the same time for the whole entire ship. After that, you're on your way to fun. Make sure you have your key to the world card so they can scan you in. You cannot have one per family. It has to be every single person in your party must be scanned in order for them to have 100% attendance. Now, accessible guests will want to get there early enough to get a spot to see the drill. And there will be also other cast members showing and demonstrating how to do the live vest, what to do in the middle of the emergency. They will play the emergency sound, which is 7 short blasts of the horn and 1 long horn, or beep. You will hear it throughout the ship, and you'll hear it in the horn if you as well. So that's your muster drill. So now we're going to get into staterooms. For accessible staterooms, I recommend you to call Disney Cruise Line and ensure that you are getting an accessible stateroom for your clients who need an accessible stateroom. You have options of the inside cabin, ocean view cabin, and balcony cabins. Okay. On this particular sailing, I was in an ocean view, as it was the last, and I was the last accessible ocean view that I could book, or else I would have to be in an inside stateroom, which wasn't probably not gonna happen. But you want to book ahead of time, as these will also sell out quick. There is definitely a lot of room in the room. There's enough to bring in the wheelchair to be inside the room. Disney does not separate the beds. So it's 1 queen bed, and then there's also a sofa bed. So if you have 2 passengers that are traveling together and they don't want to sleep at the same bed, one will have to sleep on the bed, so one will sleep on the sofa bed. Okay. Now, the front door to get into the room, you will have a tap card. You'll have your key to the world card, and that's your stateroom key to get into your room. You don't need to insert it into anything. There is a little gray panel outside your door. You just tap that card, and for accessible rooms, they will automatically open the door to get into the room. And then when you leave, there's a button on the side that you press, and that will also open the door. Now, the bathroom door is manual, so you'll need to open that door yourself, and there is a small ramp that leads into the bathroom as well. So please be aware of that. Bathroom is big enough to fit in the chair as well if needed, and be able to get around. The shower curtains, there's no lips inside to get to the shower curtain or anything. There's a foldable seat that folds down, so wheelchair passengers can take a shower seated. And the closet has function where there's a pull down bar where you can access your clothes to when you hang it up on the hangers. You can pull it down, so accessible if someone's in their chair and can't stand up and reach, or it's too high to reach, they can pull down, grab the pull bar and pull it down, and they'll be able to see it. I'll give you a stateroom. I have a couple of pictures of the stateroom, but there's also a video on YouTube in this specific cabin that I stayed in, or that introduces it, and I'll let you, so you guys can see. Okay. So next is dining. So on the main 4, not the newest one, the Wish, but the main 4, the Magic, the Wonder, the Fantasy, and the Dream, they have all of this all of the Disney cruise ships have what they call rotational dining. You will eat in a different dining venue each night. And specifically on the Disney Fantasy, the one that I was on, but majority is usually straight across board. You'll have 3 main dining rooms, but it's the Royal Court, which is inspired by the Disney princesses like Beauty and the Beast, the royals, the Royal Court. Animator's Palette. Animator's Palette is all about Disney animation. And this is where you get to meet Crush and interact with Crush, the turtle from Finding Nemo, and his team. And then there's one other night that you'll get to like draw some figures, and they'll upload it, and then they'll interact with different characters and things like that. Okay, and Enchanted Garden is kind of like the Garden Entangled, things like that. It's really cool. One dining venue per night for dinner. The wait staff will join you in the different dining room throughout the cruise. So if you go to the Royal Court one night, Animator's Palette the second night, Enchanted Garden the third night, which happened to be the order that it was for the cruise that I was on. My waits, even though they were different venues, my wait staff, I had the same wait staff every single night with the same wait staff every single night in those different venues. Okay. You will most likely have the same table number as you did the first night. You'll want to double check the app. You'll have your table assignments in the app for it. For 7-day sailings, you do have a formal night, and then there's one that's a semi-formal night. And these usually happen on your second and fifth nights. The second night, which is most likely your first day at sea, your first full day, not the very first night of the cruise, but the second night, the formal night. And then the semi-formal night is usually on the fifth night. They usually won't do another formal or semi-formal night like the night before you have to get off the ship, because everyone's packing and things like that. Again, accessible guests, I recommend straight across the board, get there early, like at least 10 minutes before, because there will be a lot of people. And especially with it being a Christmas sailing right now, or special theme sailing, especially, there will be lines like crazy. If the accessible guests are chair confined, they will remove a chair for the wheelchair to move in, and they will have that most likely once they know the first night. They'll have that ready by they'll have that chair removed by the second night you go into the dining room venues, and they'll have that throughout your cruise. Okay, so getting around the ship. Okay, if your passenger or client or guest is traveling with the wheelchair and they're bringing their own wheelchair, and it's a manual wheelchair that they can push themselves, or someone has to push them, or what they can call it a transport wheelchair or things like that, I recommend wheelie bars in the back, because there are different lips throughout hallways, event venues, dining venues, activities, hallways, things like that. You may have to that person may have to help like pop a wheelie in order to get over those humps. Okay. If stateroom attendants are cleaning their rooms, the hallways can get kind of narrow. So you want to be aware of that because of the carts that they use. You want to get to activities early and be prepared for lines. On this sailing, for this Christmas sailing, there were a ton of kids on our sailing, and lines were out the wazoo. And character experiences, things like that, events, shows, entertainment, things like that, you'll want to get to those early so you can get a good seat. Okay. So activities, okay. You'll definitely want to check the Navigator app for times, and also there may be some changes, so also pay attention to some of the announcements, but they'll do their best to update the app with those new changes if necessary as well, whether that's a time change or a venue change. Like the venue change may be something that was supposed to happen outside, but maybe due to weather conditions, they moved it inside, right? So they'll make an announcement for that, especially if it's a last minute change, but maybe that might not be updated in the app. So make sure your guest or yourself, if you are traveling, make sure you're listening to those announcements, because those can be very important. General rule of thumb, be prepared for lines and get there early. Character experiences. You get to take photos with people that are dressed up as characters. And I'll show you some of the pictures that we got as well. And if you have like photo books or autograph books that you want those characters to sign, so later on, if you purchase the photo packages or things like that, You can download them or print them out, and then you can put them into those like photo sleeve books, and they already will have the signature ready to go. Have those ready and open when you're waiting in line. And for a family, you just need one key to the world card, one key card. Okay. I recommend you to pre-book any photo packages, any dining packages, any shore excursions, spa treatments, character tea parties, things like that. As soon as the cruise is booked, next thing I want you to focus on with your clients, activities that you want to do on board that ship. And you can just go in, you can kind of start going through like what they want, what are things that they want to do. You know, if it's a princess character tea parties, those are additional costs, but those usually book very fast. Like that is the first thing to sell out, are princess character tea parties. Okay, you get the Disney princesses and the tea parties and the families and the children. And amazingly enough, the children cost more than the adults. I looked it up. It's weird. Usually it's the opposite, but they sell out quick. And anything that you purchase on board, like photo or dining packages or anything like that, they will cost you much more on board, or they'll most likely already be sold out. Okay. So shore excursions, plan ahead. Want to let you know, accessible shore excursions are very limited with Disney Cruise Lines. They may only have one or two at the most for each port of call, and they usually sell out very quickly. So you may want to have to check external sites that are catered to accessible excursions. One thing that you'll want to double check, have the traveling companion check, is the gateway. Make sure, especially if it's a manual wheelchair, like my friend had a manual wheelchair, and 2 of the 3 gangways were fairly accessible, but one was not, as stated in my next comment. Tortola, which is in the British Virgin Islands. Beautiful port of call, but not the most accessible port of call. I will tell you that gangway was the steepest gangway I have ever encountered in my life. I could get my friend down without a problem. Just, you know, I just had to kind of pull a little bit back, so slow her down. But getting her up was not the greatest because it was so steep. And what we ended up having to do is, because no one from security was coming down to help, we ended up getting almost, I pushed her as much as I could, but she eventually had to hang on to the handrails, hurl and pull herself up. Finally got about halfway. Finally, a security guard came through. Him and I, he pulled, I pushed my friend up the gangway, back onto the ship. You'll definitely want to make sure your when booking shore excursions, and if it's a passenger, if that person is wheelchair confined, cannot get onto the, you know, has issues, mobility issues, like for stairs and things like that. You want to check to see if they have a wheelchair lift on board, if it's available, because if they do not, they may need to step onto the bus to join the excursion. And if that's the case, you'll probably need that folding step stool, like a folding step stool, because the beds are high in the stateroom as well, so they might not be the easiest for wheelchair confined passengers to get into. So, like my friend, she needed she slept on the sofa bed, majority of it, but there was one night that I was like, I'm more than welcome to switch with you. You know, I don't mind. I'll sleep on the sofa bed. You can take the bed, so that way you can give your back a break. And so she slept on the bed one night, and she said it helped. But it's just something that you want to keep in mind: a folding step stool to pack, just in case someone can't get onto the bed. Sofa bed is fairly okay to get into without a problem. Okay. So transportation from the airport to the ship and back to the airport. I would recommend you to go ahead and just request this through Disney. And they have buses with a wheelchair lift already built into those buses. Okay. And it's fairly cheap. They're comfortable. When you get to the airport, after you pick up your bags and everything, and you meet with the Disney Cruise Line representative, if you are checking in bags, you'll already have your luggage tags, which will actually be mailed to you or your clients via mail. Disney will mail those to you, and they're just kind of like those airport luggage tags that you have a barcode on it, have your name, your ship, and your cabin number already on it, and you just fold it up and stick it onto your luggage. And when you get to the airport, you meet the representative. They'll have a luggage cart. Drop off your check bags that you're checking in onto the ship and take your carries on with you. And you will not see those bags until you get to your stateroom later that evening. They'll automatically transport your bags and deliver your bags to the ship. And that way then you don't have to even carry them yourself, and you don't have to go through a porter when you get to the port. Now, when you arrive, you want to make sure where the meeting location of the bus is. Ask the airport crew staff if needed. Like I was in Port Canaveral. I flew in Southwest. Southwest usually comes in through the A terminal, but Disney Cruise Line bus was in the B terminal side, on the other side of the airport on the lower level. Okay, so they will tell you, make sure you or your clients know and re-ask if it's not clear on how to get to that, or else they will miss their transportation and not get to port. For those that are traveling from Orlando to Port Canaveral, that bus ride is about almost 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, so just have your clients be prepared for that. Okay, but they're fairly cheap. I think we only paid $25 or $30 one way per passenger for the transportation. So, it was very, very, very affordable, very useful. They do trivia on the buses, and they play some clips and things like that, and the driver kind of interacts with you every once in a while, things like that while they're driving, so they keep you entertained. Okay. Last but definitely not least, the sad part, debarkation day. So if you are checking luggage and you don't want to carry off all of your bags, they will give you luggage tags that have characters on them, like for mine with Minnie. And so you'll set those bags that you are checking off the ship by about 10 to 10:30 p.m. the night before. They'll let you know specifically around what time those need to be out. And then just remember the character that you have on your bag that you are checking, because you will need to look for that to claim your bags. Okay. There are porters available at the port to help transfer luggage. If you have transportation booked back to wherever, they will help you. The porters will drop it off, and then the driver will load the bags onto the bus. Also, the night before, I recommend you to make sure that your bill is settled before you go to bed the night before, so you have a smooth debarkation the night before. This way, then, when you get off the ship, it won't give you sirens or like give you or whatever to not get you off the ship. You just want to make sure that you have that ready. The best way for your clients or yourself to do is to link like a debit or credit card to the account. That way, then you don't have to really worry about settling a bill. Now, if there is something that you need to have removed or something that you have an issue with, things like that, definitely take care of that the night before you get off the ship. Guest services is open 24/7 throughout the cruise. Okay. Any issues you have with the road, any issues you have with the anything on board, things like that. If it's with your stateroom, contact your stateroom attendant, let them know. If it's something about like a facility issue or maintenance issue, something that needs to be repaired, like for me, there was like a pool deck, there was a door next to the pool deck, kind of close to one of the bars in the smoking section of that area, that the door would not open properly. I reported that to guest services. Next day, they're fixing it. So they're very, very, very adamant about that. They're very, very on top of those things. Okay. So before I get into a Q&A, I am going to actually stop sharing my screen and I am going to actually switch. Actually, I'm going to switch to different things. So I'm going to pull up some of the photos that I have. So this was the Disney Fantasy. I hope you guys can see my screen. All right, welcome and thank you guys. This was a Disney Fantasy ship that I had, that I was on, took it from the port. Very nicely sized ship. Wasn't too big, wasn't too small, but we did have over 3,000 guests on board this sailing. It's all decorated for Christmas. This is before the tree lighting ceremony. You see the royal courts right downstairs. There's another entrance on the other side. So for wheelchair passengers, you'll take that little ramp around and you'll go. There's another entrance there. This is the main entrance, and there's another entrance. This is the main atrium. As you can see, kids galore. And for like special events like this or things like that, they'll have a special sitting area just for kids, and they'll invite like as many kids as they can pile in, basically. So there's Mickey and Minnie introducing themselves prior to the ceremony. Also, Goofy. Also Goofy dressed up as Santa Claus, and Mickey and Minnie making their way down the stairs. There was a family as well that was also part of the tree lighting ceremony, that they got to be together with the crew and the cast members and the characters. And this is where the tree and the decorations were lit up. So you can see massive amount of people get to these early enough so you can look at how full it got from the previous one, right? For the previous picture I took to this one, I know this is not the greatest, but you can see crowded, people galore. So you want to get to events early enough, okay? So this is one of the photos that I bought from the photo package. I wore my Stitch shirt, and I, of course, had to take a picture with Stitch too. That's my friend in the wheelchair. But yeah, we had a great time. We had a lot of it. We planned quite a bit for her to do because it was her first ever cruise. But I was happy with the activities we had. There's us again. There's one with us with Mickey, Minnie, and then this one is of the Enchanted Garden. One of the dining menus. On the Fantasy. This has a fountain with Mickey and an arrow. Beautiful dining menus are beautifully decorated. Food is magnificent. You can preview the menu of the day. where your dining where your dining venue is. They'll give you a menu that you can preview on the app as well, and they'll also give you an actual menu when you're seated. And another thing, this is us an Animator's Palette. I love their shirts. Their shirts are pretty cool with the ties and stuff. But this was technically formal night. So you see with the palette in the back, that's your table number and things like that. And the lights in the Enchanted Garden. Picture with us with Pluto, Chippendale, Goofy. This was at the port of St. Thomas. I didn't take any pictures of Tortola because it was not the most accessible port. They had cobblestone streets and things like that, and it was not the greatest port for a wheelchair passenger to be in. So I would recommend probably having like an excursion that's accessible for them. So there's like shops back here in St. Thomas. Beautiful port. Water's beautiful. Tons of nature, tons of greenery. The sea is so blue, like that blue color is so beautiful. And this is a view from my ocean view. I was in the most forward cabin on deck 6. So we had some rough weather on some days and we felt it because we were in the very forward. So if you have a client who is prone to seasickness or motion sickness, I recommend as midship as you can get. If not, have them get anti-nausea patches or C-bands. I'm going to my Amazon account real quick and I'm going to show you what I mean. You can anti-nausea. You can get like medication if your clients are. If it's Dramamine, make sure it's the non-drowsy Dramamine, okay? Or you can get what they call C-bands, or some people even say bonine work as well. This also has meclizine inside, which is also a motion sickness drug that helps. Ginger, green, are in the dining room. If your clients don't have it, make sure to eat some green apples, things like that. That helps settle too. Let me see here. So like motion sickness patches that go behind your ear, right below, right? These are the ones that I got. There's 2 per pack, 1 for each ear. And this is a 30 pack, or you can get the 20 pack. But this is the brand and the one that I got for our cruise, and it worked really well. Love that this saved us a lot. Some people say there's another thing that you can get that's like in an essential oil form as well. Peppermint oil sometimes helps too, helps calm your stomach aches, things like that, or nausea as well. You can get the wristbands, but I wouldn't get those kinds. There's ones that are called C-bands that are cloth ones that go onto your wrist. Let me see here. Those are kind of like this one, right? The nausea relief C-bands right here, and they'll just go onto your wrist like that. You can just have it on, and they're more cheap. There are some that are cheaper than the patches, but it just depends. Go with what you feel works for you or your clients. Okay. Another thing, like I said, I recommend like magnetic hooks. That you can do, because a lot of the walls are magnetic. Your stateroom door is also on the outside is magnetic as well. So you can decorate your door, things like that. If you're decorating your door, you have to make sure those are flame proof or fire proof magnets, but majority of those are usually of it. So you guys can get these. These are like 25-pound heavy ones for like $5 for 6, and they're strong and they're nice and durable. You can hang hats. Or if you've got like there are in the rooms there are accessible. Oh yeah, there are. So here's a big part of it. So here's a big, huge room, like the ocean view windows in the mirror right back there. That's where it is. On the TV, they also have a schedule in it as well, but it'll just have your last names on it. We had adjoining rooms, but we didn't use it because we didn't know the people next to us. Front doors over here. There's more hooks over here if you need it. Everything here is all magnetic. This is the light to the bathroom. I don't think I took a picture. That's a couch that turns into a sofa bed. We parked my friend's wheelchair over here, majority. She does have her crutches just in case if she needs to get in. The bed is right here. Like I said, it's pretty high, so you might want a step stool just to be on the safe side. There's a chair as well that you can sit in as well. There's some outlets here, and there's light switches right here next to the bed. And then also there's plugs and outlets on the desk as well. So that's a switch to help open the door. That's the stateroom, and you'll want to put in your key card inside to help turn on the lights. Your air control is right here. It can get kind of hot depending. In the room, depending where you are, but you can turn it down to the lowest if you want. Now, there was one night where it got kind of cool. Also, I almost forgot. On one of the days is pirate night. So you will get these little handkerchiefs. Your stateroom attendant will give you these handkerchiefs, and they will and you'll have a full theme pirate night. And it's usually, I think it was like on our 4th day, something like that. And then we got fireworks. They did like a whole pirate show. So this door is your front stateroom door, and I kind of decorated my room a little, my door, so it's easily identifiable. This is why I would recommend you to do so. You can even put like, I have it in my cart. You can put like a dry erase board that's a magnetic sheet with these. So also, if you have people traveling with you, you can write messages, or people can write messages on it saying, hey, if the app, because sometimes the app works, sometimes it doesn't. And if people do know, like your state, where if your traveling party knows where your stateroom is at least, and they know that you at least, every once in a while you'll eventually come back and check, things like that. And there'll be like messages, hey, we're going to this place at this time. If you want to join us, things like that. Don't forget this thing, that thing, So that's also a packing tip. I forgot to put that in there in my presentation, but that's also another thing that you can do. Back to photos. So that's our door. That's the closet. In one, it was on this side. This side has a little pull-out bar. I didn't open it because we had clothes inside, but it does close and open on its own. This one is an automatic door. There are a lot of automatic doors throughout the ship as well. Leading onto the pool deck, things like that. A lot of those doors majority of those doors are all automatic doors as well. You don't have to open it to let it out. They're all automatic. The entrance door into cabanas, which is the buffet, is also automatic. I didn't take pictures there, but that was another. That was one with Minnie. So if you're doing Eastern Caribbean week-long cruises, you will visit what's called Disney Castaway Cay, which is Disney's private island. Okay, this right here is what they call a beach wheelchair. These are sand-proof tires that allow accessible people to go onto the beach. And you can easily get these, and you don't have to pay for these. These are all available. Now, in some ports, you're going to have to pre-book them. So for those of you who are interested in selling accessible travel or catering to the accessibility travel crowd, you'll definitely want to take your special needs certification, special needs group certification, because they also do they also allow you to rent. You rent like wheelchairs, medical equipment, things like that. These are power wheelchairs or even a folding scooters, things like that. These tell you South Florida, Port Canaveral, and Vancouver. These are all available in South Florida, things like that. So there's a certification that you have to register with them. And then you just put in all the information, and then they'll get back to you with all your credentials and everything like that. Usually it takes about 1 to 2 days for you to do so. But if you do need a reservation prior to you being verified and registered, you can call them and let them know. And then they'll give you like quotes, and you can do like your rentals. You can do wheelchair rentals. You can do scooter rentals. You can do ultralight equipment, medical equipment, oxygen rentals, respiratory equipment. If your client needs a actual lift, like to be lifted into bed or something like that, like those also can be pre-ordered. So all these are all here, specialty items, bath equipment rentals, anything for the hearing impaired, bed rentals. If someone needs like a hospital bed that has adjustable base and you need a lift chair or cribs or things like that, you can also rent those. Specialty items, like if they need, majority of the time they do have mini fridges inside the room. They can get kind of cool, but they only are good for like storing like insulin or things like that, medication. Okay. If you need specialty food items like protein, baby food, things like that, you can get those. Incontinence supplies, things like that. If they're not brought, you can if they don't want to pack those, they can pre-order those things, and anything that's needed for service animals. Okay. So there's also like a certification training that you can take. It's called the CATA certification. Very quick, very easy to do. It's free. Now you might as well just do it. All right. So this is something that you can do for your cruise passengers, because it's very helpful. So that's a beach wheelchair, or they call it Joy on the Beach, or a job wheelchair. So this kind of looks different, but like it's still kind of like it's like a folding, almost like a regular chair that they can set there, but they still have those tires that are sandproof, because regular wheelchairs, those wheels are thin, and with the weight of the person who's sitting in it is holding them down, and usually sand is soft, so it's going to sink. It's not going to work. So you just want to be very careful, especially with your wheelchair passengers. Just make sure that they are taken care of, because they want to travel too. They deserve to save the world like we do. So those are the beach wheelchairs. Also the ship in the background. So, got the last photo. Oh, it was the last photo. Okay. So I'm going to show you, there's a video on here I saw. So the majority of the ones that we saw here, this one's like a balcony one, but this one gives you a tour. Hold on, let's do that. This one has a tour of the room from another person.
I did one of these about 2 years ago, and it's good. So, hi, my name is Sarah.
I'll fast forward a little
And
bit.
you can see the whole thing. Starting up here, this is me. Hope to not see you the rest of the video. Said this is an adjoining room possibility, so you can have that next door. The bathroom is to the left in this cabin. You have your that is a light switch. And this one over here opens the doors so they can turn their scooters or with a wheelchair and independently get around.
Okay, so this one, some of them do, some of them don't. So notice how big the room is.
This is bigger than the hotel we stayed in the night before we got on the cruise.
And you can notice how high those.
It is longer. I've never been in a cabin this big. And we're very pleased with it. We can park
I'll quickly show you the bathroom a little bit.
So we can charge them at night, and there's no issues. My mom and dad, kind of the scariest for somebody if you're handicapped. You don't know what to expect when you're walking in. You know, am I going to have room to have my chair in here, or am I going to have grab bars where I need them? So this is a full bath. You have your walk-in shower that is fully flushed. Handheld shower things. We had trouble learning how to use this. The left side turns the pressure on and off, and the right side is the temperature. And colder is away from you, and warmer is hot, or towards you. Warmer would. We have our soaps. We've been using H2O. There is a easy to function seat, and I use that every day because I was shaving my legs. Nice. Okay, sorry, my hand got off the button. So restart. So there is a handle between the shower and the toilet, so that you can use it either. That's been nice. My mom uses that a lot. So they do have a pull cord. It's up by the ceiling, and it's kind of short. So I wouldn't think that would be great, or if you feel need to fall or something, but it's obviously within standards. So toilet, flushes in the back, there's normal with most cruises. The clotheslines, and number 2, you see there, we have one out swimming, and we've been washing our masks. We are still within, we're in 2022 with March, so it's.
And they have these grates for the water.
It's actually here. It's very, very soft. And the carpet does a good job of it. So that is your bathroom. Move off the lights and stay with us. All right. Today happens to be the final Star Wars Day at Sea for Disney Cruise Lines. So we're decorated. I'm not exactly sure if that's a seal on my bed, but they gave us a small runner, which is kind of neat. We have extra pillows because there's 3 of us. You have 2 closets just up on the other side of the bathroom. I will open them because they are both different. So this one has a pull down bar. So you can see it there. So if you can't reach the thing, the bar, you can pull it down to your height. We don't have that problem, so we haven't been using it, but it is available there, and that's super nice because if you're stuck in a wheelchair, you can still hang up your clothes. There's shelves in there, lots of massage clothing stage.
All right, so that just kind of gives you a bigger of a preview of it. This is on YouTube. So all right, were y'all able to see that?
Yes.
Okay, because for some reason it says new share, and I just got scared that it didn't show for some reason. Sorry about that. But so that gives you kind of a preview of like this was a ocean. This was a they call it ocean view with veranda. So this is a balcony stateroom in terms, layman terms. So just be very careful when booking. When you're in the Disney cruise line website, on the travel agent side, you just want to make sure that you're you just want to make sure that you're looking for accessible rooms, and you may have to call the cruise line to let them know that you need an accessible stateroom, and it just depends on what your client wants, whether an inside cabin, an inside cabin, an ocean view cabin, or a balcony cabin. So you just want to make sure. Like I was on the fantasy, so you could probably see. So yeah, there's like wheelchair accessible ones. So they go from inside all the way to what they call concierge, which is suite category. And suite categories, they usually already come. Concierge guests usually have bigger rooms, and they'll have even more more amenities. They get more amenities on board for them. But so for they have a only concierge class is all balcony suites. We have one that's a family size one, and then one that has just a one bedroom in concierge class. So but veranda staterooms, pretty much kind of like the accessible ones, kind of is pretty much like what you just saw. Ocean, we had a deluxe ocean view that was a accessible room, but we were in the most forward one, so we only had we had one big porthole window, as you saw earlier. So that is all that I can really tell you. A lot of the tips. There's definitely probably some others, but main synopsis, what I would recommend is definitely like, if you do want this presentation as well, like my tips and stuff like that, I'll post it later on in the group chats and in the trainers chat, and they can forward that to you. But oh yeah, I wanted to show you a USB port hub thing as well, so I know what you know what I'm talking about. USB port hub. So it's kind of like this. Like you have a USB thing that then you would plug in. You can get multiple ones. Like this one has 10 of them. This one has 4. There's 3. Some have 8 or 7. You can get a splitter, but they just won't allow you to have anything that is like an actual power strip because of fire safety. Okay. No walkie-talkies. Despite what you hear on YouTube or on board, and that no walkie-talkies, they will confiscate them, and you will have to collect that at the end of the cruise as well. Sodas are free. They have Coke machines on the top deck in the pool, and sodas throughout are all free from the bars as well. That's all included. They have paper cups, or they have the plastic cups and cabanas in the buffet. But if you want it to be with you throughout the day and things like that, bring your own travel mug, something that'll keep ice cold, things like that, or something hot, something that keeps hot things hot, cold things cold, like a thermos or something like that as well. That's portable for you. Folding step stool, nausea patches, sunscreen, extra swimsuits, prescriptions. If you have specific skin and you need specific type of if you're used to having your own like body wash, conditioner, shampoo, things like that, you'll want to take those. because the ones on board are great, but they tend to dry you out because they have sea salt inside of it, so it doesn't dry out the skin as well. So you just want to be careful. Definitely bring extra clothes in your carry-on for embarkation day, swimsuits, things like that. You just want to pack that in there as well. I think that's all I can think of. Anyone have any questions or concerns that I can answer at this time? You can unmute yourself, or you can go ahead and put in the chat box. I'll be more than welcome, more than happy to answer any questions you have.
Was there a lot of adults on the Disney cruise?
There are quite a
Like
bit.
adults only, like,
There were a lot of families on
because
this.
I want to go on one, but
Have you done your training for Disney yet?
I want to go on a Disney cruise. I am in the process because you have to pay for it. So what I want to do, I want to solely do cruises because I'm on this cruise kick right now. I've been on 2 Carnival cruises so far, and I'm a huge Disney fan, and I also love Stitch.
Yeah.
So I really, 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 really want to go on a Disney cruise. I've been wanting to go on one since I was a kid, and I'm about to be 30 next year.
Nice.
So I just didn't want to go on one and feel like I'm an adult and I'm on a kid cruise type of thing,
I will tell you, there are so many couples. There were so many couples. There were so many single travelers and things like that were just that just had a blast. I mean, you will see adults in these character experiences in line to take pictures with the characters. You will not feel out of place whatsoever. So
cool.
The best thing for you to do is to complete your Disney training, because reason why I tell you this, I traveled on this sailing that I just went on a Disney cruise agent rate. Okay, once you complete your Disney training, it's time for me to renew mine. Okay, so that's why my benefit is unavailable right now. Okay, got it. So but you have these 2 right here. Okay, when you are complete with all of your training, this is all of your Disneyland, Disney World, Adventures by Disney, Disney Cruise Line, Aulani, everything. Once you are done with all of it, and you keep up with your refresher trainings as well, you get access to agent rates, like your Disney passes right here. Walt Disney World Travel Professional ticket. You can get there's one that's a discounted ticket, which you get 50% off from 1 to 10 day pass, or you can get a 1 day flexible day pass, a 1 day pass for free on that one.
So question, for doing that one, do I have to have the Sieta card for that?
You don't need the IATA, you need the CLIA.
Yeah, the cruise card, right?
Yep. CLIA card.
So yeah,
Very easy to do.
I'm working on getting the money for the cruise card.
We get discounts from Art because we're Archer Travel. We're a premium platinum. We're a premier platinum agency, and our CEO Ron Archer, he actually sits also on the board of directors of CLIA. So he also gets to help us make decisions and things like that. When you join CLIA, I believe it went up a little bit this year, but when I did it earlier this year, I only had to pay $70 for it versus the full price.
Yeah, I think it's the same. It's still the same.
Yeah. So it's $70. It's the membership starts from January 1st to December 31st.
Yeah, so I'm gonna work on doing lines in around January. So therefore I'll get the full year for it.
Right.
So that's what I'm working on now. I'm working on doing the CLIA card. I'm working on the Disney, and all the other cruise lines because I really just want to do cruises because, like I said, I'm on this cruise kick, and
Yeah,
I feel like I could sell a whole bunch of cruises because of my excitement that I had on my both of my cruises that I
right.
went on for
I'll tell
Carnival.
you. Um, I will tell you. You don't. You won't believe how many cruises I've been on alone this year. I just completed my fifth cruise this year last week.
I'm trying to be like you.
Hey, we're mobile. I mean, I get, if you're doing this part-time and you're not doing this all the way full-time and things like that, I get it. You may have to do and supplement your income. Great, not a big deal. But
Yeah,
remember, you're a travel agent, but you also need to get to know your product. That way, then you'll know how
yeah,
to really sell the product to your clients. So that's why with Carnival, I love because we get travel agent, we get travel advisor, very exclusive travel advisor rates from Carnival, you know, and they give us very good discounts. And they are they're a good cruise line to get your feet wet with cruising. If you've never
yes,
taken
it is. Like
if you've
it's
never taken
awesome.
a cruise before in your life, Carnival is a good one to do. Next one, you could try Royal Caribbean. I just got back from Royal Caribbean last week, and it was a great time. Um, my
Where'd
friend
you
who I
go?
took, my friend who I took on the Disney cruise, we went on this one, the Allure of the Seas, on Royal Caribbean out of Galveston. I felt bad for
Yeah,
her
me
because
and my best friend were thinking about that one too.
yeah, it is a beautiful ship. It is the only Oasis class ship. It is the biggest cruise ship we have in Galveston. Okay, so you definitely you can definitely take advantage of that. Now with Royal Caribbean, you will have to sell a Royal Caribbean cruise before you get access to travel advisor rates. Okay, at least sell one cruise from Royal Caribbean, and then after that, then you can get access to to their travel advisor rates. The travel advisor rates are not as great as Carnival's is,
Hmm.
but it is a little bit off. It's not the full price, but because this was my first Royal Caribbean cruise ever, and I never sold Royal Caribbean, so I booked this one last year. Um, and I mean, I paid the regular rate for it, but my friend and I, we got an exclusive group on in Cruising Power. There was one where you can get access to group rates, and because it was part of a group block, it was through Travel Leaders. And we got it for both of us for a balcony room. It was like $1,800, including
Oh, that's
taxes.
not bad
No,
for a cruise. That's definitely not
exactly.
bad.
7 day sailing, not bad at all. And I mean, yes, the three ports that we went to were three ports I've been to before, but I don't mind. It was Cozumel, Honduras, and Costa Maya. I mean,
Yeah, that's the one we're looking at too, because we're trying to travel more.
mhm.
So this year was our first time actually traveling together, or just traveling anywhere out of the country. Period. So for my birthday, which is in July, we went to Bimini, Bahamas, out of Miami,
Oh,
and
nice,
for her birthday, we went to Ocho Rios and Grand Cayman out of
nice,
Miami.
nice.
So
Ocho Rios
next
is Ocho
year we're
Rios
trying
is
to
Ocho
plan
Rios is
our
Ocho Rios and Cayman are beautiful.
yes, it was really, really beautiful. It
I
was
love Grand
nice.
Cayman. I went to
So
that
this
was
year
fun.
we're trying to do the same thing. I'm trying to get her to figure out what she wants to do for her birthday so we can start paying for it now.
Mhm.
So by the time comes, everything will be paid off and we're just, sitting pretty, just not having to pay anything. The trips paid
Well,
off, the
yep,
the excursions and the gratuities,
right,
plus the drinking packages. That's what I'm trying to get her to do.
right.
But she takes a little bit longer to make decisions, so I gotta wait for her.
But another one that you can do since you've done this Caribbean side, maybe
Hmm.
you can do you can maybe fly to LA and do like Puerto Vallarta, Cabo.
Yeah, we're trying to go out of like either Galveston or Los Angeles. We're deciding. I'm trying to get her to pick one
Right.
so we can figure it out.
Yeah,
So
so
I
if you
can
do
start
like a
looking it
7,
up.
if you do your 7-day cruises, they'll have 3 ports of call. So if you do a full week cruise, you'll have 3 ports of call. So if you do the one from LA and if it's a 7-day, you'll most
Mhm.
likely hit up Puerto Vallarta, you'll hit up Mazatlan, and then you'll hit up Cabo San Lucas.
Okay.
And those are nice ports. If you do Carnival, it's the Panorama currently right now.
Mhm.
In the
I saw that.
future, starting 2024, they're going to have the Firenze, which is a ship that they took from Costa Cruises and are making it into a Carnival cruise. But they haven't announced that one just yet. But they just announced the Venezia, which is out of New York, which is going to be doing
Yeah.
Canada and Bermuda.
Yes. We
For
also
the
looked into one of that Canadian cruise too, the
Mhm.
New England one. We've
Right.
been ever since I started this. I'm really into cruising now. So like I've really been
Cruising's fun. I
using
love
a
it.
lot of the, I've been on Royal. The first couple ones that I signed up for was Carnival, Disney, and Royal Caribbean. So because I really want to just solely do cruises. If I can get my way, I'll just do so bunch of cruises.
Yeah, there's a
And the
lot.
reason why is because I can, I have more to talk about. If I did, I can do tickets too because currently I work in aviation. I work for United and I work for Spirit.
Oh wow, I used to work
So
for American a long time ago.
yeah, so I'm trying to corner the market here,
Right,
one
exactly.
division at a time.
Yeah. Um,
So
thank you. Where are you based out of?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay. Cool.
Mhm.
All right, great. Patricia, did you have any questions or concerns I can assist you with?
I'm okay.
You're good? All right. Well, thank you all so much. I know it was a longer training and I was dumb enough to put the wrong meeting ID. I do apologize. I was wondering, I'm like, am I really the only one here for a while? So, but it is recorded. I will have it ready